Bring in a position player.
Does this happen to you too often? Does your weak pitch get absolutely barreled and fly right out of the park? What makes someone throw like this versus like this? This video will explain the mechanics of throwing and what it takes to throw hard like these guys. We will create an experiment to find the relationship between arm speed and pitching velocity. When we are done, we will know what it takes to throw like a pro. Both Aiden and Garrick took turns throwing the ball from different angles to highlight the movement of the arm and the arc length that it creates. The arm starts at a 90-degree angle, and there is only motion straight forward and then releasing. There may be slight deviation from this 90-degree slot, since it's a little unnatural to throw like that without more components. Now to compare the length of the forearms. Aiden has a longer forearm with 0.46 meters, so it takes more time to complete the full rotation, whereas Garrick's shorter forearm of 0.4 meters takes less time to the release point. The frame and size of the player leads to different biomechanics for the throws.
In this section of the video, we added a jerk motion and a rotation of the torso and hips. This was done by starting with the arm stretched out straight forward and pulling back before the throw. The jerk motion compared to the initial throws we calculated added more components of movement that generate more force, similar to a real baseball throw. The action of bringing the hand forward and back is similar to the way a spring works. Starting in a resting position, the arm then stretches further back, creating tension that is then released into the throw.
This is now a pull-down usually performed by outfielders. This uses the entire body to generate force forward.
Our approach. Using the throwing videos and tracker analysis software, we will analyze the two throws.
We will look at the velocity of the ball after it is released, the velocity of the hand used to throw the ball, and the angular velocity of the hand related to the elbow joint.
The throw being analyzed is of a windup to 90 degrees compared to the torso with the forearm being perpendicular to the elbow. We aim to find a relationship between the hand velocity and ball velocity and the angular velocity to the ball velocity. In our calculations, we're ignoring torso and shoulder rotation. We will assume that the trunk of the body is still. We will be looking at hand and elbow movement. We will assume that the arm is moving in a quarter circle arc, and we will also assume that the ball is located 5 centimeters from our participants' fingertips. Defining our variables. VB is equal to the ball velocity after release. R is the radius from our participant's elbow to the ball. Omega is angular velocity. V sub h is hand velocity. T is time to release from 90 degrees from horizontal to 0. And D is our quarter circle length.
We will now be looking at the 3 formulas essential for our calculations. First we have D is equal to 1/2 pi times R. V is equal to D over T. And omega is equal to V divided by R.
So first, we examined the data collected from performing the video analysis on Aiden's throw. We attained R, our radius, to be 0.46 meters. By measuring from his elbow to the ball and using tracker, we gathered data allowing us to find the time that his throw took, which was 0.067 seconds, and the velocity of the ball, which was 12.46 meters per second. Next, using our known R value for Aiden's radius, or the distance from his elbow to the ball, we use the formula of a quarter circle to determine the distance that the ball travels over the throw, which was D equals 0.723 meters. We then calculated the velocity of his arm using the distance the ball traveled over the time it took to release the ball. We got that the velocity was 10.785 meters per second. Next, using the formula to find angular velocity, we calculated the speed at which Aiden's arm was rotating and found the angular velocity to be 23.445 radians per second. Lastly, we evaluated the ratios of the hand velocity and ball velocity and found that it is roughly 1-to-1 ratio, since they have about the same speed when they get to the end of the throw. We also evaluated the ratio of the ball's linear velocity to the angular velocity of Aiden's arm and found that that was 0.53 meters, which is a ratio that nearly reflects the radius that we determined from the throw, that is Aiden's elbow to ball distance. Following the same analysis as Aiden's, we examined the data collected for Garrick's throws and attained a radius R of 0.4 meters, again measuring from his elbow to the ball. Then using tracker, and we gathered data allowing us to find the time of his throw to be 0.033 seconds and the velocity of the ball to be 18 meters per second. Next, again using the known R value, we used the formula for a quarter circle and determined the distance that the ball traveled over the throw to be D equals 0.628 meters. We then calculated the velocity of Garrick's arm using the distance the ball traveled over the time it took to release the ball and found the velocity of his arm, the linear velocity, to be 10.785 meters per second. Once again, we used the same equation for angular velocity that we did for Aiden's and found that Garrick's arm was rotating at 47.6 radians per second. Lastly, we again evaluated the ratios of the ball to hand velocity and once again found that it was roughly 1, since they have about the same speed when they get to the end of the throw. We also evaluated the ball's linear velocity to the angular velocity of Garrick's arm and found that that ratio was 0.378, which reflects how the radius of the throw is the ratio of the ball's linear velocity to the angular rotation velocity.
In our experiments, we found that arm length and speed are part of what determines the speed of a pitch. With a longer arm length and faster arm speed, the faster a pitch will be. There are limits to the human body, and always having a faster arm speed will not always lead to a faster pitch. The UCL is a ligament in the elbow that is commonly torn by pitchers. Injury of the UCL comes from strain from overuse in throwing. The slow fragmentation and stretching of the ligament causes the pitcher to lose explosiveness and, as a result, ball speed.
The ulnar collateral ligament, or UCL, is an important ligament in the elbow for baseball pitchers, football quarterbacks, and javelin throwers. When the UCL tears, the athlete often complains of pain on the inside of the elbow and a loss of velocity and control.
We saw when we added in more rotation of the body to our throw, we achieved higher velocity. This is why looking at translations and rotations in the human body is important. It shows us where the power comes from in our movements and what needs to be loaded in order to change our results.